Hey guys, welcome back. Do you have a lot of issues with gas? Farting, flatulence, stomach aches, gurgling, whatever you want to call it. Everybody experiences some form of gas. Um, Gas can be a heavy indicator of how your digestive tract is doing, and it can be an indicator of your health in some ways too. Some serious conditions tend to make you a little bit more gassy than others. Sometimes it's just food, sometimes it's an intolerance to food, and sometimes it's just just how fast you eat. I noticed a lot of people get uncomfortable with being very gassy and having issues with that. Whether it be the frequency, the sound, the smell, whatever you want to call it. There's all different reasons of why you could be gassy, but as far as my research goes, gas is an indicator of how your digestive health is. I wanted to read an excerpt from the an article I found at the Mayo Clinic. Gas in your stomach is primarily caused by swallowing air when you eat or drink. Gas forms in your large intestine or colon when bacteria ferment carbohydrates, fiber, some starches, and some sugars that aren't digested in your small intestine. Bacteria also consume some of that gas, but the remaining gas is released when you pass gas through your anus. I provided the link for this article in the blog post about it on my website, so feel free to go there and check it out. But yeah, so like it said, there are some main culprits behind what can cause the average person to have an excess amount of gas. And keep in mind, gas is completely natural. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It happens. Everybody goes through it. Some people can control it and some people can't, I know people have these big ideas about what it means, and teenagers claim that it never happens and stuff like that. But listen, as funny as it may be, as embarrassing as it may be, it's not all that serious. Unless you have a serious condition going on and by your own discomfort if something like that's happening. Just my recommendation would be to cut down on the sugars and, the high fiber foods. You might be getting more of those than you think you are. Some people don't get enough fiber, which can also cause other issues. But too much high fiber foods can often cause a lot of gastro discomfort and things like that. Other things are a little bit more serious medically, and you should definitely go to your doctor to get those checked out, obviously. But an interesting fact that I once read when I was a teenager, it's actually from a book called The Gas We Pass. A friend's mom of mine had it in their bathroom one time, and I was reading it, and it talked about how, like, after intestinal surgery or after like a serious trauma, one way that that your intestines are beginning to work again is that you have gas, and you can tell that's how your digestion's starting to kick up and things like that. I always thought that was an interesting little tidbit for that. Some of the not so medical stuff, besides the types of food that you eat, obviously your diet is a big important indicator of things. Some of the other things you might want to look out for is, are you talking while you eat? Do you drink a lot while you eat? Do you inhale a lot of air when you eat in any sort of way? Sometimes people talk a lot, they shovel food in their mouth, or they're heavy breathing, or not while they're eating, but hopefully not. But they're heavy breathing for whatever reason, or in between bites they're quickly chugging a bunch of water or whatever you're drinking. And obviously carbonation causes a lot of gas. But generally it's an excess swallowing of air, which can happen when you eat really fast. So what you can do to help this out is help your body break things down easier and sort through all that. Try to go at a nice slow pace. Try to chew well. Don't take any deep breaths right before you're about to swallow, stuff like that. And just make sure that, dinner time conversation is fine, but that's also your time to really take a break and focus on what you're eating at that point. And that's what a lot of times people go right from dinner to dessert because they think they're still hungry. My kids do it all the time because their minds are all over the place. They have energy like crazy. They want to go play. They want to do this. They want to do that. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I want a cake or cookies or some kind of treat. Can I have dessert? Can I have ice cream? Can I have this? Can I have that? And it's like, whoa, dude, you just ate like a whole plate of stuff. Why don't you just take a minute and digest some things? Take a minute, take a break. And more often than not, what happens is, they will sit for a couple of minutes because we use the excuse that, oh, everybody needs to be done before we give dessert out when we're going to have it, and we kind of use that as our opportunity to pace ourselves. And then that helps their digestion catch up a little bit. And lo and behold, by the end of everybody eating, and when it's time to move on to the dessert stuff, they're usually not that hungry and they can't eat as much as they thought they would. And, they end up eating a lot less of it, or they end up eating something different than what they originally wanted. It's a thing that we are taught to do during our meal times, especially like lunch at work. Usually we get a half hour for lunch, and I'm sorry, that's never usually enough. If you consider how much time it takes to prepare your food, leave the work environment, or even just to go to a break room or something, get yourself settled, even if it's just using the microwave and sitting in a break room, that still takes some time. You got to get up, you got to use the bathroom, you got to microwave your stuff, you have to, walk it to wherever your break room is or wherever you're going. And, sometimes you don't want to do that. This is all going to be covered in another episode about the environments of eating and things like that. And it's going to be, talked about later on. But, a half hour, even sometimes an hour, can not really be enough, because what happens is you finish eating, you digest, you use the bathroom, you do all this stuff. And when you go back to work, you're kind of lethargic, you're very full, and that all comes down to the psychology of eating. Like, most of the time we want to finish in the amount of time that we're given. And I'm not saying take 2 hours to eat your lunch, but go at a nice pace. You'll feel less gassy. Your stomach will be, or your digestive system will be less overloaded. And you'll be able to taste and enjoy your food and give yourself that break of just focusing on that for a little while. And that'll be a big difference. Another thing that people blame for gas, but it's not directly the cause of it, but it is a source of it, is stress, anxiety, things like that. Because where it doesn't affect the level of gas in your stomach, it does affect your digestion. And, it can cause some hiccups in your digestion for different reasons, chemical reactions and things like that, which can also cause excessive gas and stomach discomfort and things like that, all the way up till diarrhea and, taking away your hunger at all. So, as embarrassing or as much of a silly conversation as it might be, I'm going to talk about pooping at some point too. Bowel movements are a serious thing. They're also an important indicator of how your health is, how your diet is, and things like that. It's all stuff that you got to take seriously. Some of the most embarrassing things to talk about are right down to the smell. Sometimes you can tell if something's not settling right or whatever, if you can basically smell it when it happens. And there's a lot of different things for it. There's different ways to cover it up that I covered in the blog post, or different ways to change how things smell, or change how frequently or whatever it occurs. But if you are having issues with this, it might be something that I can take a look at for you, or it might be something a little bit more serious that I would suggest that you go and see a doctor for. Either way, it's important to pay attention, whether you do it by yourself, whether you go and talk to somebody, whatever. It's important to get it under wraps, and don't be so embarrassed that you just push it off to the side when you could very well just fix the issue at the source of it and be comfortable again, be in control of it. If you need any help with this, you want to talk to me, you want to schedule a free consultation or anything, I could talk to you about fitness, diet, nutrition, lifestyle, any of the above. So yeah, get in touch with me, click the link in the show notes, and find my webpage, whatever you need to do. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.